the payment.
It would be the state, it would be whoever engineered the project.
You know, I can't imagine that the engineering plans called for telephone poles in the middle of the sidewalk.
I didn't see the plans, I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know. Yeah.
So, that being the case, something was off.
Yeah.
Somebody should be held responsible for it, and it should be
Right.
the taxpayers of the town of North Reading.
But in that case, Steve, RMLD is less is held less
Yeah,
harmless.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Other
either,
than-
but
other than we're
if the
being
pole was
held-
there and we built a sidewalk
We're the
around
harmed
it.
party at this
Yeah,
point, and it's
right.
something that we've been talking about and harping on for years. Because, you know,
Yeah, I
could
know we
foresee
have.
this happening.
I know we have.
As the project developed, as the hot top was laid down, the curbing was put in, I could see it developing.
Yep,
And
you're right.
kept
We
raising
talked
the
about it,
issue,
so-
and everybody said, oh, assured us that everything was gonna be all set and taken care of. And now here we sit.
And what are you recommending?
I'm recommending that we somehow pursue, either whether it be Mass Highway, whoever is responsible for the engineering design plan of the project. They have an errors and omission policy, I'm sure, and, you know, find whoever's culpable and hold them to it. Or are we proposing to just roll over and say, okay, leave them alone? You know, I'm not ready yet to do that.
Greg, perhaps a meeting with Dave Hanlon and Mike Bergen, yourself, and I, talk about what potential options we have.
Just look at the plans that were laid out for the project and see where the poles are. And if they're in the middle of the sidewalk, ask the engineer why were they. But I don't believe there were any poles to be left in the middle of the sidewalks. If that's the case.
Do we have a count
someone
of how
could-
many, Steve?
I'm sorry?
Have you counted them?
What did they have here, 27?
I don't have
Probably less.
I don't have an exact count, I mean,
It's in the teens at least.
I thought it was 11. I don't know why, but I thought it was 11.
instead of taking a walk down there when the snow melts.
The what?
Well, I don't wanna walk on the sidewalk, right now, do you?
No,
If you can even find it.
you can find it.
Fourteen were identified in the original request, and RMLD, in our most recent correspondence to RMLD, we identified 4 additional poles that were never brought up in the original letters that were sent to RMLD, so there are 14 and 18 total. Okay.
Who signed off on the project for the town?
I'm sorry, Sean?
Who from the town signed off on this project? As it was being
I don't think we have we?
I don't, the town has, to the best of my knowledge, the town has not signed off on anything.
we
We've not
signed off.
accepted anything to do with this project.
Mass Highway has them.
Mass Highway has said that they're all set.
They're done.
Well, they said they're all set, but we haven't signed off.
No, we didn't sign
We
off.
haven't received it yet. We haven't actually
Right.
accepted it.
Right.
Okay.
The town's concern is Stephen had pointed out about the disabilities and accepting
They
the
come back
project.
at us, we're gonna have to pay the price to make those changes if we can't get it done.
Right.
Anything else, Greg?
That concludes my report. Thank you for your patience.
Mr. O'Leary?
On another RMLD, we got a press release. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it in our packet.
It was in the packet, yeah.
And it's pretty interesting.
They want us to,
They want us to write our congressmen and senators, I guess, and help them fight the good fight as far as the high costs of delivering electricity to our households, and they seem to have found a party to point the finger at. Because obviously people are feeling the pinch when they see,
they're buying power off the grid.
yeah.
They must be charging us for the green energy, which is more money.
But anyway, it's an interesting read, and I think we should participate as a board. You know, I think the board should fire off a letter to our congressmen and U.S. senators, and as well as urging the public to take a look at the RMLD's website, and I don't know if we can put it up on our website too. And sign off on the letter and send it in. Make some noise. I mean, I don't know about your electric bill, but mine was double
Well,
what
they
it, double
gotta-
what it should have been.
Yeah, they have a sample letter here, so.
Right, there's a sample letter attached. So,
and,
but I think if
send
we
it
can-
in with a whole bunch of names on it.
But if we can craft one from the board,
Mhm.
expressing our concern, and
Could we post this letter as a PDF on the website? Maybe
I don't see why we can't.
citizens can get access to it?
Or a
and-
link to it. They also said that they'd like to have the letter available here in Town Hall where residents could come in and sign a petition.
Yeah, the petition is in the
So
back.
we've granted that permission,
Mhm.
and we can certainly make reference to anyone that wants to come down and sign it.
I don't know what the board's feeling is in relation to us going on record as a board.
Well, You wanna make a
echoing the
motion?
concerns. Yeah, I move that the Board of Selectmen sign a letter to our congressman and two United States senators echoing the concerns as expressed by RMLD.
Second that.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, second by Mr. Harris. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Anything else, Steve?
One other matter. I was saddened to hear and read about the passing of our former state senator, Bill Saltonstall, this past week. And he hadn't represented us probably since the '70s, I think it was, since the early to mid-'70s. But what a terrific fellow. A fine representative, and although the state senate he was for us, even though he's on the other side of the aisle from me, philosophically.
That's why he was such a good guy.
That's why he's such a good guy. No, he's such a good guy because he was a great guy. I mean, he had early on during my high school years, I got involved with a lot of civic projects and activities and political activities, and Senator Saltonstall was an early influence on me, and a positive influence. And he was very visible in our community for years, coming to all sorts of functions and affairs, and type of fellow that would respond to every phone call, and maybe not necessarily tell you everything you wanted to hear, but he'd actually tell you, sorry, I can't help you, with a smile, and you'd say, gee, I feel pretty good. He had a real knack for dealing with people. And also, when he came to commitment of the community activities here, I mean, on a number of occasions, he'd come to the function, come to the affair. It was all over. He'd hang around, take off his coat, roll up his sleeves, grab a broom, and help you clean up. But a fine gentleman, great legislator, and I was sorry to hear and read about his passing. A wonderful man. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Steve. Michael?
Anything further?
Joe?
No, nothing tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing from the
I got a few things I wanted to bring to the attention of the board. As you recall, we talked about the trust funds and getting in touch with the trustees of the trust. And those trustees are Barry Allen, Pat Romeo, and Mrs. O'Brien, Barbara O'Brien. And we all know that Barbara O'Brien is ill. Barry Allen sent a letter to the town administrator, he just received it, I think it was sent around the middle of January, asking not to be reappointed. I believe he's out of town at the moment. So there's actually an opening on that. And I talked to Greg this afternoon about filling that position. And then at least it'd be potentially a quorum that we could talk to associated with what we can and can't do with those trusts, and that'll help us make a decision on whether repairs to the library are coming out of trust funds or are they going to be a capital bond issue. So that's the story there. Just some interesting statistics. One of the things remaining in our 2009 budget issue is the automobile excise tax. And off the website, some interesting statistics. This is data, annual data from 2000 to 2008. In 2000, the average age of an automobile in North Reading was 6.99 years. And in 2008, it's 9.21. So, the trend that we've seen associated with the concern over excise tax revenue. And just so you understand how that works, I want to do with the sheet now. I'll try to do it from memory. Here it is. In the model year for a car, the excise tax bill is tied to 90% of the value of the vehicle, and that's not what you paid for it, but some established value that the registry uses. In the second year, it drops to 60%. In the third year, 40%. In the fourth year, 25%. And then in the fifth and succeeding years, it's 10%. So you can see, if people don't buy cars, new cars contribute to the largest amount of excise tax. Just some information. Some other information I thought was kind of interesting. This gave a breakdown of automobiles, trailers, light trucks, heavy trucks, motorcycles, other. And there's 6,928 automobiles registered in town, 840 trailers, 5,230 light trucks, 723 heavy trucks, 406 motorcycles, which is up from the year before, 239 other, for a total of 14,366 vehicles. In 2000, the number of vehicles, total vehicles, was 13,000. So we've had, over the past 8 years, a growth of around 1,300 additional vehicles in town.
That are more aged.
That are more aged, yes. Greg, while you were out on last week, I asked, and this was for the financial planning team meeting, I asked Joe Tassoni to redo the revenue plan based on the governor's numbers. And what I told him to use for FY 2010 was the $600 and something thousand cut, not to assume that the meals tax and room tax would get passed, just as an approach to the budget. So he ran those numbers through, and the 2009, including the 2009 cuts, basically we're on the plus side, and this assumes that we maintain the $300,000 cut in the budget, 150 school, 150 town, of about $88,000, a little over $88,000. And if you look at, and of course, what's open on this is, have we got the motor vehicle excise tax number right? And I just saw another one here that I hadn't given any thought to, but I think I heard the governor, or I read somewhere, where payment in lieu of taxes from the state may be curtailed. And we've got $320,000 in there, and I don't know how much of that money comes from the state, but that might be worthwhile looking at, if there's any state money in there at all. And then if we look at 2010 with the adjusted numbers, the variance, or the deficit, and the deficit again is based on a 6% increase in the school budget, and that's almost 2% less than what they said they'd need for level services, and a 3% increase in the town operating budget. In other words, numbers that we've been consistently using, and a county retirement at 10%, which we know is going to be true, workers' compensation of 6%, and an 8% increase in health insurance, which we're obviously working on. With those numbers in there, the deficit is calculated to be $1.79 million. So that's a little better than the last run we made when we had a 10% cut in state aid. The state aid cut is a little less than that. As it stands today, subject to change as we move
What
forward.
are you using for state aid cut figure?
The state aid cut figure is the 600 and something thousand which is a